So let's go into obviously the big one that affects the Broncos. Bradley Chubb and a 5th round pick in 2025 gets traded to the Dolphins. The Broncos receive Chase Edmonds, a 2023 first round pick, and a 2024 4th round pick. Mm-hmm. Is anybody surprised at all?
I will say I was a little bit surprised that they were able to acquire a first round pick. Now, granted, there were rumors swirling that they were able to, get, or I should say, Peyton. It seemed like he was angling to get multiple first round picks. Which, boy, if that would have happened, I mean, I'm of the mode that, like, we should already kind of build him a statue anyway with the way that he's been drafting and being able to see all this talent. But the fact that you're able to trade Chubb away, get a first round pick, and then add more depth to your running back room, I think it is pretty fascinating to me that he was able to angle it that way. And also, I mean, for Bradley Chubb's sake, you're going to go out and be in a tax-free environment down there in Florida, and get your potential $20 million a year deal, maybe with the Miami Dolphins. And, ball out with Jalen Phillips, who, ironically enough, could have been a Denver Bronco as a trade back into the first round candidate. So the fact that you have that kind of irony, I think is, I think it's just, it's definitely, we say it all the time, right? And we said it a few times on some trades, like it's bittersweet. You never want someone to leave, but the fact that the Broncos certainly seem to get a pretty decent haul, I think is really, it's one that really does set you up for the future. And especially for the Russell Wilson contract, you already lost in essence 2 years worth of first round picks, but you gained a first round pick back in this Chubb deal. So in essence, it's win-win, honestly.
Yeah, and I don't mean to cut anybody off, but Jeffrey Bryan says we got better, 1 step back, 4 steps forward. And honestly, I don't even think it's a step back at this point. Like, you have Baron Browning, you've got Benito, you've got Cooper. We're getting ready to have Gregory and Browning come back. I don't know if it's really a step back.
Well, let's look at the moves this year. All right, so we signed Randy Gregory. Our first pick in the draft is Nick Benito, and we moved Baron Browning to outside linebacker. I mean, if that didn't scream, we're not bringing Chubb back, I don't know what did. And, I appreciate everything Bradley did. But as Zach Stevens, tweeted earlier, he said he was very good, but he played 49 of 73 available games. I mean, that says a lot. Not to mention, at 20 plus million, which I'm sure that's what he's going to get, is we have a top tier quarterback. And I know everyone harps on the fact that Russ has this contract and they're always bringing it up. But the fact of the matter is we've had crappy quarterbacks for a long, long time that made no money, and it's gotten us nowhere. And we've had no promise. If you're going to pay a big-time quarterback, we have Draymond Jones to sign. I would hate to see Draymond walk and give Chubb $20+ million. When we have some of this other depth and other potential on the edge, I think it's a great trade. Peyton met with the media after, and he did say that he wouldn't have traded for anything less than a first-round pick included. I don't know if that's entirely true. I think that he would have been absolutely mauled if we had kept Chubb and finished 9-8 or whatever we end up, and he had walked for nothing or a compensatory pick in 2024. I think people would have been outraged. It was a great deal, and I haven't checked, but I don't know if we parlayed this 4th round pick we received into the next deal that we'll talk about in a few minutes. Mm-hmm. But if I could add one more thing, and I know I'm babbling here, but Cam had mentioned some depth to the running back room. Chase Edmonds, 5'9", 210, 26 years old. He only has 120 yards rushing this year, so he doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires this year. 2 touchdowns, but he has 4 seasons in Arizona. This was his first with the Miami. I'm excited about what he can bring as far as competition. Some of the other plays that he can make. His size is really interesting. Short but big. I think I was excited when I saw his name as part of the compensation.
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned when it comes to Peyton's moves. Ever since he got here, we got rid of Von Miller, and now we're getting rid of Bradley Chubb. I mean, that when
I know it's genius.
Well, I mean, hindsight 2020 I mean, down the road. But I'm thinking when we drafted Chubb, the idea was to have two bookends like a Bosa and a Khalil Mack, like they have in, to be able to have those bookends, and now they're both gone. My question is, to you guys, George Payton obviously wants to bring in his own guys, and every GM does. I get that, but and Glenn, you did allude to the fact that you said it was a smart move. Why do you think it's a smart move to get rid of those two high quality players?
Because on paper, it seemed it was going to be incredible. The dynamic duo was going to be great. And then one got hurt, and then the other got hurt. I mean, the person that stood out the most when they were the dynamic duo was Malik Reed, because he was filling in for whomever was injured at the time. Vaughn was coming off injury, early 30s. We got a 2 and a 3 for him. Bradley
season.
Right. Yes. Bradley going into free agency, not sure if we were going to re-sign him, going to command a $20+ million contract most likely. And you get a first round pick plus a later pick the following year and a starting quality running back. Some would argue maybe not starting, but definitely a 53-man roster running back. I think it's great.
To continue what Glenn said, though, I think the reason why it's also such a great move was even before the season, we were rattling off Bradley Chubb's name as a trade candidate just because they signed Randy Gregory to the big deal. They drafted Nick Bonito, and then we were wondering and curious about what is the transition going to end up being with Baron Browning to edge. Well, you mentioned, what is your bookend, pass rusher is going to be right there. I mean, Baron Browning looks like Von Miller incarnate. Like it looks super freaky the way that he is as a pass rusher. And Nick Bonito, obviously was one game, but like he shined out against the Jacksonville Jaguars in that game, and it just so happened to be Bradley Chubb's last game. And so it was a nice ode to the future with Bonito. But I mean, Randy Gregory, yes, he's been hurt, but go back and watch what he was able to put forth on tape and in the games when he was on the football field this year. He was arguably the best defensive player on that field next to Pat Surtain. He was forcing fumbles. He was doing necessary hurries. Pass rush, was there between he and Bradley Chubb. And frankly, I will even make the point that he made Bradley Chubb better as a pass rusher. And so I think that overall, the pass rush depth made Bradley Chubb expendable, in essence, why they ended up trading him.
Yeah. So Steve Starkovich says it's only genius if it works. What is our depth at outside linebacker now? And correct me if I forget anybody, but I'm going to name everybody injured or not. So you got Randy Gregory, you got Baron Browning, you've got Nick Bonito, you have Jonathan Cooper, you have Aaron Patrick, you have
Patrick's hurt. He's out for the year.
I'm naming everybody.
Okay.
Who's the Kongbo? We got Kongbo. And then technically Jacob Martin is listed as an outside linebacker. And you got Zach McLeod that was just brought up. So we have plenty of depth. And that was one of the reasons why the Broncos were able to pull off the trade for Bradley Chubb, is because we had so much depth behind him. And honestly, if you look at like some of the rankings of the depth players, Bradley Chubb ranked like 3rd or 4th when it comes to outside linebackers, because you had Browning and Gregory and Bonito just crushing it all season.
And Peyton did say that he expects Browning back for the Titans game. Gregory, probably not.